Hello, and welcome to the Rock Metal Podcast. I'm your host, John Harris, and today on the Rock Metal Podcast, we have Canyon. They have a new EP called Static, which released on May 21st. Right now, I'm being joined by Alex to share some more information about this stellar release, as well as what the boys have got going on. So, Alex, welcome to the show.
G'day, man. How's it going?
Fabulous. It's a scorcher today. I know it's winter where you are, but here we're having yet another heat wave. It's been going in waves. Heat wave, and then it gets normal, and then heat wave, and then normal. So we're in a heat wave right now.
What's a scorcher for you guys? How many degrees Celsius is that for the day?
The previous heat wave was a record setter here for Western Canada, and we were approaching like 45 degrees Celsius.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's actually hot. All right, cool. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't sure if like 24 degrees Celsius. You guys are like, oh, it's cooking. No, that's cool. We get that's hot too for us. And we got over 40 degrees. That's getting serious, man.
Yeah. Now it's not so bad. It's like 35 degrees Celsius, but you mentioned 24. Where I live in Canada, our summer is pretty much 22 to 26. Like that's our summer.
All right, so this is way different for you guys.
Oh, yeah. We don't have air conditioning, or some people do, but we don't, for example, because, yeah.
Yeah, that's hot. 40 plus is hot, right? You really notice that.
Yeah.
We get like that most summers for a few days, sometimes more than 5 days worth of hot days like that, but it's still, that slows a lot of people down, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Cool. We're at the opposite. We're in our winter. We're having a pretty cold winter this year. We're getting a lot more days, like down 2 degrees, which is pretty cold for Melbourne. So.
I was going to say that's almost a summer day here.
Yeah, I was going to say probably not that cold for you guys.
Beautiful. Now, the cool thing for anybody listening in is that we've actually already recorded this interview, but we didn't actually record it. There was a malfunction, but Alex was cool enough to come back on. So we're pretty much going to do the exact same interview we did last time, where we chatted about Tasmanian cheese. We chatted about wine. We chatted about Alex being how do you say it, Alex? Is it a luthier? Is it a luthier? Is it a luthier?
Most people say luthier. Usually I say guitar maker, because a lot of people get confused. Sometimes they mistake it for like being like a Lutheran, which is that like maybe a type of Catholic or something.
Yes.
So yeah, often I just say guitar maker, but yeah, luthier.
Oh man, yeah. So Martin Luther, not to be confused with Martin Luther King or Martin Luther King Jr. I believe was the guy who started the Protestant Reformation, except that broke off into Protestantism, protesting the Catholic Church, and then Lutheranism. Somebody can eventually let me know what's going on. But no, a luthier comes from a lute, which would, I guess, be the original guitar. How does a lute translate to a guitar?
Yeah, it I think kind of became the guitar. The lute, it was like it's like maybe even like pre-Baroque or something. I'm not sure exactly, but it's kind of like a small body guitar kind of thing. More of like a round bowl of a body, a lot smaller. Strings the same, little sound hole usually kind of the same, and the headstock is angled back at a much more extreme angle. Almost like, looks like in the pictures, like almost 90-degree angle headstock going back. And yeah, that was just played, by people, minstrels or whatever, in the court, to entertain lords and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's from that, yeah. It's kind of weird as well, because what most luthiers do now, they're making like, really like modern steel strings or, fan fret drop tune shred beats.
9-gauge strings with active pickups. It's a different world now, Alex.
Oh man, there's so much going on and all that. It's cool though, because there's a lot of variation, so it's really interesting. You can go from the standard sort of just the standard acoustic guitar, or working on something that's like quite a bit more extreme.
Extreme. Now, speaking of extreme, you have an Explorer on the wall there. You've got a dual rectifier to your left.
Oh yeah, I didn't know what you can see around there. Yeah, I do. I got a dual rectifier. Nice spotting, man.
Sweet.
Yeah. You want to have a? This is my. This is actually my guitar room, repair room. So I've got another here, and I've got my little repair. I've got a little repair bench up there behind me. I think there's a. I've got a Washburn Dimebag Darrell up there that I just did a major neck repair on that Washburn. The head sock broke right off, and I had to do quite an extensive repair.
Okay.
And I'm getting there on that, so I do all that kind of stuff too.
Sweet.
I'm pretty obsessed with guitars.
Yeah. Well, I've recently myself started going down the guitar rabbit hole. I started with pickups. I chatted with a custom pickup manufacturer here in Canada, and that's immediately got me on the rabbit hole because, as most guitar players, I never thought about it.
Yeah.
And then now I'm going on the guitar string rabbit hole because, again, I'd never thought about it. I walked into a guitar store, I picked up a pack of Ernie Ball Slinkies, I went home.
Yeah.
That was the end of it. Whereas now I'm actually spending unfortunate amounts of money trying different metals and things and whatever. So I think it'd actually be really cool, since you like chatting with me, bringing you on again specifically to chat about guitar stuff.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Actually, that's a really good idea.
Sweet, because I'm about to go down the rabbit hole with you right now, but I looked over at the screen and went, oh, got to talk about Canyon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That band Canyon. So EP Static, it's been out for a couple of months now. So, initially we chatted about things like cheese, which obviously I'm always
also very important.
Yeah, I'm always apt to talk about cheese because I had figured that in Australia, because of the English base, kind of like same thing in Canada, when I think of Canadian cheese, typically it's a cheddar of some kind because of the English base. I figured it'd be the same thing in Australia, but we were going on about these different kinds of cheeses that exist in Australia, and Tasmanian cheese came up.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, still not.
And I'd like to point out as well, I'm a New Zealander, so I'm living on the big brother country, but but New Zealand's got some sick cheeses as well. I think actually, maybe it's because that we're far away from like the rest of the world and stuff. It's not so bad in Australia. We kind of get a lot more cheeses, and they're a bit more affordable. But I know my mum gets quite a bit of cheese envy because of the cheeses we can buy at a cheaper price than New Zealand. So I think maybe some of the reason we had all those kind of cheeses is we basically had to kind of copy and make our own rather than always importing them from all around the place.
Mm-hmm.
Like, decent cheeses. New Zealand and Tasmania both have good cheeses, and I think you got to have a lot of rain so that you've got a lot of good grass, so that you get a lot of well-fed cows, so you get good milk, and then you get good cheese.
That's what I like about you, Alex. You think about the whole process from the sun shining to the rain falling to the grass growing to the cow being happy. Because the cow's listening to Canyon. It's got the Canyon EP and like AirPods. And then producing good milk.
Yeah, that's important stuff. Like, I don't know about you, but like, I think that's just how I think about stuff. Maybe that's why I'm a guitar maker, because I started playing guitar and then was like, but how does it? And then how does it? And I keep going back until I'm like, well, I might as well make one then.
Yeah.
And I kind of think about everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing, we'll probably have to save this for our next chat, but somebody was asking me recently about, they're like, man, I'm not getting the guitar tone that I want. And I said, well, the record that you're hearing isn't just somebody by themselves with a 15-watt practice amp in a room. Like there's a few things going on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't get everything you want out of a 15-watt practice amp. You got to keep that in perspective. He's like, okay, well, what kind of a signal chain? I said, well, speaking of the sun and the rain and the grass growing and the cows, I said, well, honestly, the first part of the signal chain is you.
Mm-hmm.
There's an energy to you that the guitar picks up and vibrates with, and that goes into the pickup, believe it or not, and comes out of the amp. And if you listen close enough, you can actually hear whether it's Kirk Hammett playing the Metallica song or whether it's James Hetfield playing the Metallica song because of that energy difference. And if you can't hear that, then you got to train your ears to get closer to it. But it also goes with the fact that, like, for example, he said, well, I want that tone, but I'm playing in this band. Okay, well, that's another thing. If you take Eddie Van Halen's guitar setup and you gave it to James Hetfield, it would sound like crap because it's the wrong setup for Metallica.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So you're the first part of the signal chain. You gotta... Then comes other things.
No, I agree so much. I did the same thing. At one point, I was trying to get James Hetfield's sound, and all I had was like a cheap guitar, a PV 15-watt amp, and a Boss Metal Zone. And I got the Metal Zone because someone said, James Hetfield uses a Metal Zone. That's how he gets the sound. And I got the Metal Zone, and I got home, and I was like, oh, man, this doesn't sound anything like Metallica. This is horrible. And then I started learning what you just talked about. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good fun.
Mm-hmm. I guess
still like their sounds too. That Metallica guitar sound is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's evolved over time too. They just released a bunch of demo and pre-production stuff from the Black album, and it's funny. In my mind, that is what Metallica should sound like. Not that they have a bad tone now; they have a great tone now. But I was reading an interview with Kirk recently where he said, as he's aged, he's turned the distortion down progressively over time. And it's just kind of, I don't know, fun listening to the Black album and going, yeah.
Yeah, man. I've been listening to the Black album. I heard some of those demos. And what is it, like Sad But True, take 36 or something?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You just hear this massively mid-scoop tone that was new for the 90s, but now sounds very 90s.
Yeah. But that album is amazing. That totally holds up. That is an incredibly good sounding album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a great bass sound as well. It's one of the best bass sounds for that kind of music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So good. Yeah. Actually, my son's not quite 2 years old, and he, since hearing Metallica, kind of accidentally, he started, he was like, getting his nappy changed, and he was like, what is that? And he was just looking at Kirk Hammett playing guitar like, what? And then after that, I told him, like, oh, that's Metallica. And then he's like, Metallica? And I was like, oh, this is great. I like being a dad. Mm-hmm. And he demands Metallica now when he gets in the car when I pick him up from daycare. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Before that, he was just listening to like the Wiggles. So it's a logical progression,
mm-hmm. Yeah. One step at a time. Now, at the time that we chatted, I think the EP hadn't been released. I can't remember exactly what we chatted about, but I guess my question now, Alex, is there's been some time that the EP has come out. What's the reception been like for the EP?
I think it's been good. Like we've had lots of nice listens on Spotify, which is probably the only. I'm not very tech savvy, so I'm not across what it's doing in all the places, but it seems to be going nicely on Spotify. Like I think we've had over 5,000 listens, so we're pretty happy about that because it was just like, we're just doing it because we like doing it. Mm-hmm. And then we released also probably just after I spoke to you, maybe 2 or so weeks after we released the video. That was made. So I'll have to send you a link as well to the video, which is on YouTube, the video for Static, which was made by a really good friend of ours. It's like a digital animation studio called Small Robot Studios, based in New Zealand. So he's made this really awesome digitally animated video for us, which is kind of based on the artwork and the theme of sort of the EP in general. So, and that's been going well as well. A lot of people said they liked it and looks really cool, and we thought so too. But it's been good. We haven't been doing much. Like, we haven't actually been able to play a launch show. We've been locked down on and off in Victoria, and it's been a bit like, it's felt a bit pointless to do a whole lot of stuff. But that's, we're just kind of waiting at the moment. We just put it out there, and we've just been enjoying having it out there. And then we've been sort of chilling out and writing a bit of stuff here and there for the next thing.
Very cool. Now, I'm watching a music video for Static, which, for those of you watching either on the website, therockmetalpodcast.ca, or on YouTube, or you're listening on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever, if you go on today's show notes, you can click the link to go check out the music video for Static. And if you're old like me, then you'll be aptly reminded of a Tool music video, which at the time was claymation. But now we have the technology to not have to take a bajillion pictures.
Yeah. Although, claymation, still cool. I like that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. That's cool. A lot of people also said that too, that it reminds them of a Tool video. So for me, that's a pretty big compliment, because a lot of people said to us, you have to do a video, But we didn't want to do just like us, like in an underground car park or just the stock standard kind of get your friend to do a video cheaply. We wanted to do something that was more in line with the art and keep that whole arty sort of vibe with it. So we think that Michael did a really awesome job of the video. Really like it, actually.
Yeah. No, it's very good. So it'll be posted on today's show notes. So the EP's been received very well, like you mentioned. And I've heard that some things have kind of gone back to, we'll call, I guess, COVID normal in Australia. So there's a bit of a hold on some things. And that's probably going to happen for a little while until things, I don't know, return back to some sense of normalcy.
Yeah, it's all a bit of a mess, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a bit like that everywhere. And we're in winter now as well, so last winter was just a mess. In Victoria, we got locked down for about 10 or 11 weeks or something. I was off work for that long at a point. And this year we've been sort of on and off little shorter lockdowns, kind of randomly. We have some cases pop out, everyone freaks out, we've got to stay home, and they kind of repeat that cycle again and again. So, but it's all good.
Yeah.
No, I'm not complaining. It's just, I think it's like that for everyone around the place. It just can make it hard to do. Things like booking a gig can be frustrating because you can get all hyped and excited, and then it can be, the day that you're about to play or the day before it gets shut down and you're starting again. So we've just kind of left that alone to probably just not to stress ourselves out too much.
Well, you don't want to be gone before your time, Alex.
Not at all. No, I like that too. Thanks. That's really cool. That song was actually received really surprisingly well, considering it was one of our sort of softer takes. Yeah, we were surprised with that. A lot of people said to us they really liked that song.
Well, it's a good EP. It's a great EP. And you said you guys are working on some new stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep chatting with you until my next call comes in, because I'm supposed to be in my next slot, but they haven't called yet. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say quickly, what can you say about the new stuff?
Well, how many songs? We've already got probably 4 songs that I would say are either complete or 95% complete. A couple that are similar in the sort of vein, that we've started there with the songs on Static, and then one of the songs which I really like is about 9 minutes long, which is a bit more drawn out, a little bit more, not necessarily progressive, but obviously 9 minutes is getting to be a bit away from standard sort of rock track time, so a bit more, some more progressive stuff, some more, I think, time signatures, maybe a little bit of mucking around with some different time signatures and rhythms. We want to keep doing that a lot, and probably experiment with some more dynamics in the music. I think, yeah, we'd like to do that a bit more, and maybe even some slightly different sounds. Like we're kind of keen on. When we started jamming, we actually, our first jams were with a baritone guitar and 5-string bass or bass tuned to B, and then we did that for a bit. But none of the songs on Static are in that tuning. They're more. I think that's all in E flat with a drop D. So probably a bit more songs with like the B tuning baritone guitar thing going on to mix that vibe up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're not sure because we haven't finished writing them all. So we started out thinking, okay, well, we'll put out another EP because we've almost got enough material for that. But it could end up being something that might be an album. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You know how it's kind of just see where it goes, right? Is that cliche? Can you?
No, I don't think there's anything cliche in rock and roll, baby.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and you could just call it dynamic. So you had the static EP, and then you'll have the dynamic EP.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so we touched base. We chatted about the EP, how it's been received so far. We chatted about the music video for Static, which again, if you're watching on their website, rockmetalpodcast.ca, or on YouTube, or you're listening in on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you're listening, in the show notes will be a link to that music video. It's cool. It's kind of like if Unforgiven and any Tool music video made a baby. I'm just what I'm envisioning. I don't know if you guys had that in mind, but like immediately that's where my head went. We chatted about cheese. We chatted about lutes and being a luthier. And then we also mentioned that you would come back on so that you could walk us through, I don't know, like a guitar setup, or, I think something else is really cool, especially for a lot of people who are recording guitars at home right now. It's from a luthier's perspective. How do you set up a guitar so that it's both comfortable to play in the tuning that you want to be in, and for the playing style that you're in, you're getting great takes because you've limited your fret buzz, you've limited a lot of things that probably get overlooked, such as, well, you've got low action, but do you have enough neck relief, or, whatever. Or the wrong string gauge, so you can't stay in tune because you don't have the right string gauge, etc., etc.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Alex is getting fired up. I'm getting fired up. We'll book a time for that, and we'll get
now.
right now. Yeah, well,
that's really cool. I'd love to help with something like that, man. I think that's not always stuff that gets talked about or thought about, because usually when we go to record, we're busy worrying about the songs or, I don't know, something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get there and you're like, why is this not working? And it's kind of like, that's not the right time. You want to be trying to figure those problems out. You want to be really prepared with anyway, don't get me started now, but we'll think of the guitar. The tool.
We'll do it. Do you have the calendar link still, or do you want me to send it to you?
Hey?
Do you have the calendar link still, or do you want me to send it to you?
Send me when's going to suit for you, and I'll see when I can slot it in.
Cool. All right. Well, we chatted about all the stuff Canyon that's important, and this is kind of like a cliffhanger for anybody listening in, because they're going to be like, I want to hear more about that. Tell me more. But it's going to happen, and it's coming soon. So thank you so much for coming back on to the Rock Metal Podcast, Alex.
All good, man. Thanks heaps for chatting to me again. It's not exactly a chore. I enjoy chatting with you, man.
Thanks.